Okay, Mike Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental and the Dental Road Warrior, returning for episode 100 in the series. Yes, it's finally here after a long hiatus, which I'll get into. But if you notice the 100 balloons in the back seat of the car, that's about the extent of the celebration while I'm driving. So that's my big thing for episode 100, which is again well overdue. One, because the Dental Road Warrior's car was sick due to COVID for a while, meaning that the dealership could not get parts for the vehicle for repairs I needed to do a couple of months ago, and I was in a loaner for quite some time. We of course cannot do a Dental Road Warrior, especially episode 100, and not in the original vehicle. Number one. Number two is the Dental Road Warrior himself then came down with COVID for real. That's a whole long story. Please don't get into all the comments about whatever. I'll explain at some other time if anybody really wants to know. The good thing about it is I recovered, rebounded a little bout with pneumonia, but thank God I'm all right, and I was strong to start off with, and I am back to being on the road and in the game again. So, but anyway, using that as a theme of health and then sickness and now health again, let's talk about and dedicate episode 100 to staff. All right, the vast majority of every episode that I've done over the 3 years or so of doing this series is focused somewhat directly or indirectly on staff. Why? They are the lifeblood of your practice. They make or break you. People might say, oh, new patients are. Well, guess what? You're not going to get any new patients, retaining new patients without, and take care of your patients effectively without any great staff. You know, and many of us have found out the hard way during COVID about, you know, how healthy our staff really is. In other words, are they dedicated? Do they got my back? Do they want to come back? Do they want to work? Will they return, support me, get back when, you know, things are back up and running again? We've learned the hard way when these people are gone now for various reasons that they didn't come back. We weren't very healthy with our team in the first place. You know, it was a sickness there of lack of appreciation, lack of acknowledgement, maybe lack of security, lack of caring, lack of interest, lack of, you know, basically taking care of your team, giving them your valuable attention, training them, making them feel like they're part of a greater whole, and feeling valued and prized in the practice. These are all elements that go into this, because when, you know, if you're inherently healthy, right, as a practice or as a person, let's say, and something like COVID comes along, guess what, right? You're more likely to rebound from it and be okay, as opposed to if you're inherently sick to start off with, whether it's your body, whether it's your practice, rebounding from that becomes a lot harder, or sometimes not at all, as we're finding out, unfortunately, from all the people we've lost during this whole process, right? So we are losing people during COVID because we were sick in the first place. So, and we only wish we had those people back right now. You know, and I can't stress enough. And again, I always have a ton of great stories. And right before the whole COVID thing, when I was out and I was going to do episode 100, a great situation came up which illustrates this perfectly, about the power and value of highly trained veteran staff that you invest in, that you keep and nurture for your practice, and what they bring to the practice. Because I saw it firsthand, it was great. I was set up to do my orientation kind of kickoff with a team. I was at the practice. We're all in the big waiting room. There's probably about 15 doctors, you know, staff and doctors and myself there. I'm about to launch things off and get things going when the door to the practice bursts open. And who bursts in the front door of the practice but an irate senior patient. Now, we all know how senior citizens are. You don't want to get them upset of your practice. You don't want to change anything, because what she was upset about, and she started ranting and raving about exactly, is that she had gotten a message earlier that day, a couple hours earlier, saying that they were canceling her appointment. And why were they canceling her appointment on her? It's because of my meeting. All right, so here I am standing here. I'm the cause of this whole thing, which I would never recommend they had done this. But so she just decides to go off the reservation and go ape, you know what, on everybody there, including the doctor and the team, and we let her out. And like I said, and we find out that this lady basically had been there since he bought the practice from the doctor before them. So it's a legacy patient where this patient's kids, grandkids, friends, whatever, have come to the practice, including her. So obviously her being irate and upset is not a good thing, not good PR for the practice. So she proceeded to go off on everybody, and when she took a pause, the manager who had been there and for many years and come back, and she said, you know what, Mrs. Such and Such, come here with me. I'm going to take care of this for you right away. And proceeds to walk her behind the front desk, close the door with her, to spend a few minutes with her, talking off the ledge, smoothing this over, making it right in front of her, and then and until she finally, and then when she walked out of the room, the doctor says to me, "Well, I guess that's why you're here." Yeah, this is why. It was a perfect illustration of why, but it wasn't me, in this particular situation, because it was a breakdown in how things are done in the practice, but the important thing is, he had someone there to make it right by this woman, because how costly would it have been if this person left the practice, completely irate and upset, because look, senior patients, they can't wait to get to your practice. They know you can't cancel them the same day. They're already out the door, probably on the way to your practice, to be there 2 hours early and sit there, and take advantage of your reception area, for whatever. That's just the way they are, and this manager, knowing this person, and her background, how important she is in relationship with the practice and everything else, and probably because she was there before the doctor that bought the practice was able to diffuse this particular situation. What was the value, all right, of that manager at that moment? We don't think about that, and it's crazy to me. All I've been doing for the last 6 months with my team is recruiting, hiring, and integrating new staff. Because every single one of them have lost people during COVID for various reasons, and they're hurting right now because they don't have those people there. And then getting and finding good people is another whole nother thing, and it's a very arduous process. It's time consuming. It's costly when you lose team, and there's no great way, to basically, come out of it. It's just going to take time and money no matter what you do. And now it's harder than ever, So I've been spending my time, with our team to get staff back in place, because again, you don't have this. They're the ones that make the whole thing run, the ones that make the whole thing work every single day, right? So staff retention, and I've done episodes on staff retention, obviously is critical, and I've taught the how to and spend time on staff retention. But I think that the moral of the story is you need to come out of COVID, you need to make sure you maintain a healthy staff, and a healthy team environment, and really develop that. There is no vaccine, unfortunately, for staff retention, because believe me, if there was, I'd recommend every single doctor getting a double dose that I know, all right, because this is the most neglected area of practice we find, right? And that's why I named the company Staff-Driven Dental over 25 years ago. Why? Because staff drives the practice. They're the core, the nucleus, everything that I talk about, it all boils down to staff. Right, docs? But the thing is, this is an area that we put the least amount of attention on all the time, to our detriment in our practice. Right? We'll spend time on the clinical, and we'll spend time maybe when there's an upset finally or whatever. You don't want to get it to that point, right? You just don't, right? And again, this example I illustrated right here just goes to show you, right? And if we had multiples of this person that was trained at this level with this kind of personality to practice, which is also part of it, because not everybody comes out of the box that way. She had the it factor. She's good to start off with. She hadn't had a lot of our training yet, but she knew what to do and handle this upset in a particular practice. Everybody needs to be able to handle your team that way, while at the same time getting along well with each other, respecting each other, communicating well with each other, and understand, and being dedicated to the practice. That this and the mission that we're on with the practice, and that's the whole thing. It just can't be a job for people to show up to. I still see people, hiring resumes. Let me just get a body in there. It's a critical error, right? I've said it multiple times. Every dollar, flows through your team. I wish I could have done an episode 100 where I could give 100 reasons why. You should really put more attention on your team and invest in your team and train your team. The people that work with me have gotten the big idea and the big picture there. That if I didn't do something for myself, to my team, the practice is going to be in serious trouble. Or the reason why I'm in serious trouble with the practice is because I haven't put attention on this part of practice, right? And do so at your own risk, right? You can't compensate. If you want to be one of those practices, compensate for all these things with volume, go be my guest. It's a hard road to hoe. I'd rather have a practice where we're retaining everybody. You don't have to do meds volume. We're doing quality instead of quantity. It's a much better life in practice. But it starts and ends with the attention and time and energy and focus and on your team, right? That's what this whole series I embarked on, a long, long time ago to get to this level, to get to this episode today. It's all been about that. It will continue to be that. You know, I hope I look forward to do another 100 episodes of these, depending upon, maybe I'll have a hovercraft by that time, and I'll be flying and save some time on the road by the time we get to number 200 in the episodes here. But I do appreciate the loyal following, everybody listening and sharing these episodes. If you have ideas for topics you want to give me for future episodes, please let me know. Hope you're enjoying, like I said, watching these videos, and I'll be back for 101 on a more timely schedule coming up soon.